Now, here's a pick I'm sure most of you haven't watched for this challenge: Disney's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Okay, as far as horror films go, this probably won't qualify, but the reason I'm watching this, and particularly for the 31-day challenge, even though there is no criteria that it fills, it's because Halloween was really one of those things that, and I'm sure a lot of horror fans will relate, it's what got me into horror. The season, the way that it feels, idea of going around in costumes, collecting candy, and also watching all sorts of scary movies and Halloween themed cartoons. And probably one of the more famous ones is this short that Walt Disney himself put out. Now, even though this isn't really a horror film, and it's mostly, well, kind of a drama, if I'm to be perfectly honest, it is one of those few cartoons that has really planted the seed of what eventually became my interest in horror because of something you very well know, the Headless Horseman. And its depiction in this film is stellar. But before I get into that, let me talk about this a bit, because The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which, if you've been living under a rock and don't have cable or any kind of contact with the outside world, this is a story about a love triangle between Ichabod Crane, Brom Bones, and Katrina Van Tassel. And pretty much Brom Bones has been losing in this battle to try and win over Katrina, except for one particular instance, when he realized how superstitious Ichabod Crane was and how much of a firm believer he was in the paranormal, and used that as the opportunity to tell one hell of a scary story. And it was after that Ichabod was starting to experience all of the things going through his head, just all the terrors that could be waiting for him in the woods as he was going home on a dark Halloween night. And that was a. It's weird that the big clincher, that one thing that really sells the whole short, is this one scene that doesn't last maybe even a quarter of the short, but it is the most powerful part of it. And getting ahead of myself again, there's so much other things that are really good about this. For instance, the narration is very elegant. The vocabulary that's used is probably going to send you to a thesaurus if you haven't heard some of these terms before, and I can't blame you for that because there's a lot of them that honestly I'd have to look up. But there's enough there that you can follow, and the art style is beautiful, as all Walt Disney animations are. I'd have to say that music is catchy and a lot of fun. The town of Sleepy Hollow looks like a great place to live, and that's something that really has not been emphasized in a lot of other adaptations, is that this is a very peaceful, serene place that only one night a year can become very dangerous. Which, Tim Burton didn't exactly sell that point very well, did he? Okay, so about the Headless Horseman. The whole scenes leading up to him perfectly illustrate a person's paranoia and fear as darkness closes in and this once picturesque environment turns into a twisted, dark landscape that seems like it's trying to strangle you from all sides. And as things get debunked, it all of a sudden becomes clear there's something here that's very real and very dangerous. And the depiction of the Headless Horseman is probably the best there's ever been, because it gives you everything you need and nothing more. This might seem like it's just stopping short because when I say and nothing more, that's because it allows your imagination to take full grasp of this. It doesn't give you a whole bunch of details that you need to absorb. It is basically the blackened silhouette of a horse and its headless rider, accentuated by a shining blade in one hand, a flaming pumpkin in the other, and that flowing black cape that also helps him stand out in the very dark environment. It adds movement and size to the Headless Horseman, making him truly imposing, and I think every single moment of the Headless Horseman is phenomenal. And I don't think anyone can really disagree with that this is probably one of the first villains that people really associate with Halloween, but also has become such a classic. And Disney did a fantastic job depicting him. I would even say that it's hard to find a depiction of him that's better than this one because you're given only what you need to see, and that's more than enough. I though I gotta get to the point where a lot of people are going to be talking about this because it's not a horror film. It has the Horseman in there for about a quarter of the runtime, but also the Horseman is like the main selling point of the entire short. While there are great things like the competition between Ichabod and Brahm, it's really the Horseman you're after, and the short was actually better when it was aired on television because they shortened it up and you ended up getting more of the Horseman for the running length, which, if you can cut out so much and it gets better, that says that it's a little unfocused on what people really want, but I can't entirely remove all that other stuff because it was so good. The catchy songs, the colorful environment, it's the fun characters. As much as I love The Horseman, I really wouldn't want to watch this without the whole package. So it's an interesting little conflict that it gives me. I I still say it's fantastic and give it an 8 out of 10. And as far as the 31-day challenge, we've got do we have anything here that I can take off? Don't know if I can. I could probably take off TV movie, but it's a TV short, so I guess this one's really not going to get anything. And some people would say, well, I could take off ghost film, but I have a far more appropriate pick for that one. And that'll be coming up in a little bit. So, until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.